Welcome to New England College. This is Mark Rowland, the head of library instruction at NEC. So what we'll be doing today is a bit of library orientation, showing you what's available to you through the library's website. First things first, let's figure out how we find the library's website from NEC's homepage. So if you click on students, faculty, and staff from nec.edu, that will take you to a separate page of links. And if we scroll down, you'll see there's a link underneath the calendar for Danforth Library. This will take you directly to our homepage. Okay, so let's go over what's on the homepage. At the top of the screen, you'll see updates from the library. So this is where you would get any news coming from us. If you scroll down, you'll find our hours on the left-hand side of the screen, so we regularly update those. On the right-hand side, you'll see our email address and phone number. So the easiest way to get in touch with us is by emailing libraryhelp@nec.edu. This is the best way to get help with a research problem, citation problem, or anything else, any other questions you might have about the school or the library. This goes out to all of the librarians, so we all see it, and whoever can answer it first will get back to you. So this is the quickest way to get to us. If we scroll down a little bit more, there's a link to our Facebook page. That's another good place to get updates. You'll see email information for getting in touch with tutoring and IT. If there's a particular individual at the library that you would like to get in touch with, you can just click on their name, and that will open up an email to that individual. The tabs at the top of the screen allow you to navigate through the library's website. Under Find Articles, that is where you will find individual databases. Find Books is where you'll find our book catalog as well as our ebook database. The book catalog allows you to search through both print books and ebooks. For citation help, you can find that information underneath research tools. So that's where all of our citation guides are located, as well as the link to our citation management tool, RefWorks. For interlibrary loan, you can make those requests through the links on the interlibrary loan page. As I mentioned before, you can find individual databases on the Find Articles page. So I'll go ahead and click that tab. And on this page, you'll see a few things that will be helpful. If there's an article that you want, but we don't have it in full text, you can request that by clicking on the Interlibrary Loan Article Request form. So that will open up a form that you can fill out with the citation information for that article. To find individual databases, I can either go to the alphabetical listing by clicking on this link, and that will pull up every database that we carry with descriptions. Backing up, if I don't know what database I want to use, but I know the subject area that I'm researching, I can select databases by subject listing from this drop-down menu. So I'll go ahead and select that. So let's say I'm doing education research. I can go ahead and click on education, and what that will do is pull up all of the education-specific databases. It's important to note that each of these databases carries different journals and different articles, so I will get different results in different databases. When we talk about research, we always refer to it as an iterative process. So basically what that means is it's trial and error, trying one search in one database and then trying that same search in another database and comparing the results. Every research topic will have a database that kind of fits that need. So one of the things we need to do is figure out which database that is. I will go back a little bit here. One of the ways that we try and make things easier on you is by having something called discovery. You can find our discovery service on the home page. If you scroll down, you'll see a search box in the center of our home page. This allows you to search through the majority of our databases as well as our book catalog. In order to view articles in full text, though, we need to log in. So first I'm going to complete a search. And then my results will pop up. Now I can read through the list of titles, but I can't actually read anything. So in order to log into Discovery, I need to click up here in the little yellow box that says Hello Guest and log in. So that's going to bring me to a page asking for my NEC ID. So that will be your student ID number. You just want to make sure to enter in both letters and numbers with no spaces. I'll click log in. Then I'll be taken back to my results page where I'm now able to read anything available in full text. Once you've completed a search and logged in, you can read an article by clicking on the full text link. And that should pull up a PDF or a page with the HTML version. Backing up here, in Discovery, you'll also see full text links that look a little bit different. If we scroll down to the bottom, some articles will have something called full text finder linked. These are articles that are from non-EBSCOhost databases. So if I want to read this article, I need to click on this link, then click on the link through to the database. And that should pull up the full text. Some articles will have this view record in DOAJ. Those are articles in open access journals. So if I want to read that full text, I just need to click on this as well. Getting the citation for an article I'm using in my research is fairly straightforward in a library database. If I click on the title of the article, that will pull up the item record. I can then scroll down and you'll see I have some options on the right hand side. One of those options is Cite. If I click on this, that will pull up a box with the article cited in a variety of citation styles. So all I need to do is scroll down to the citation style I'm using and copy and paste that into a Word doc or Google Doc. Always make sure to double check that the formatting is correct. Even databases can make mistakes. In a ProQuest database, we can get a citation by clicking on the item title, then clicking on the Cite button on the item record. Once we do this, it will show us the APA citation. If we want to switch citation styles, we can do so by selecting it from this drop-down menu. Then I can copy and paste this into a Word doc. To link to an article in a database, I can't just go up to the address bar and copy and paste this into another browser or Word doc and save that link. This will not work because it doesn't have our proxy address. So the database won't know that you're part of an institution subscription. So what I need is a static link, or what we call a permalink, to the article record. So the way that I get that is by scrolling over to permalink and selecting this. And that's going to open up a box. And you'll see this actually has our proxy address. So it's going to have nec.gmilks.org in there. So this I can copy and then paste into a document or into another browser to save for later. And that will take me to the article record page. In a ProQuest database, you'll find the static link or permalink on the abstract and details page of an item record. If I go to this page, I'll need to scroll down and copy and paste this link. This will be our permalink for this article. So let's say I've done a broad keyword search in Discovery for differentiated instruction. A couple of things here. You'll see at the top we have something called a research starter. When you're doing broad topic searches like this in Discovery, it's going to give you some reference articles at the top that you can kind of get to know your subject a little bit better. But if I scroll back up, you'll see that we get large results in Discovery. So in this case, 361,000 plus. I need to figure out a way to cut these results down from 361,000 to something more manageable that I can actually feasibly read. So the way that we do this is by using something called limiters. So these are the tools that you'll see on the left-hand side of the page. Every database has some version of limiters, and depending on the specific type of database, you'll notice that they may have some very specific limiters, and that they'll be a little bit different from those that we see in Discovery. But these are very good ways of taking a broad search and narrowing it down to something more specific. So you'll see I can limit my search down to only those from peer-reviewed publications. I can limit by publication date. I can look at source type. So if I'm looking for, say, newspaper articles or ebooks, I can cut my results down to only those that are in, say, ebooks or newspaper articles. In the parentheses here, you'll see that shows you the number of items that fit that category. We can also limit by subject listing. So every article is given a set of subject headings that give you a better sense of what that article is about. This is really how the database actually organizes the material. I'll go ahead and we'll limit to only those items from peer-reviewed publications. And that's going to cut my results to more than half of what they were initially. Still too large, really, for what I would like, but we're making progress. So if I scroll down, I'll go ahead and narrow my publication date, time range, and we'll just enter in, say, the last 10 years, so 2010 to 2020. And that will narrow my results down to only those articles published between 2010 and 2020, which gets us down to 91,000. If I scroll down some more, we can select academic journals. So we'll narrow our source type to only those articles from peer-reviewed academic journals. And then we can look at the subject limiter. So when I'm doing a keyword search, it's really just looking for those words anywhere within the article record. It's not necessarily bringing me back articles that are about differentiated instruction. It just means the words appear there somewhere in that record. So the way that I can narrow my search down to a specific topic or subtopic, and something specific to differentiated instruction is by looking at subject headings. So if I click on Show More, that's going to show me all of the subject headings for my search results. I can then scroll through here and select the most relevant subject headings to my initial research topic. So we'll go ahead and select education and learning and teaching methods. So I'll go ahead and click update. And that narrows it down to a little under 8,000 articles. That's still somewhat too big for what I would want. So what I can then do is actually go back down to that subject limiter and look at the subject headings for the remaining search results. So then we can scroll through this and get to something very specific. So we'll go ahead and select effective teaching. And this will narrow my results down to the 147 articles that have the previously selected subject headings as well as effective teaching. Sometimes a broad keyword search is just too broad. So we need some different options beyond just doing a search throughout the article record. We can find those options using the advanced search function of a database. So I'm going to go here and click advanced search. And you'll see on this advanced search page that I have multiple search boxes. I have a lot of different options from which I can select. And we have this drop-down menu next to the search box which says select a field. So this allows me to choose which fields I'm searching in. Keyword searches just search for those words throughout the article record. If I do a search, say in subject terms or abstract or even the title, it's far more likely that the articles that I get in my results will actually be about that topic. So let's do an abstract search, just as an example. You'll see with an abstract search, I get only 6,000 results. So that gives us a narrower set of results to work from and further narrow down using our limiters to get to a more manageable end result. We can improve on a broad search by adding more search terms. If we type in differentiated instruction and college students, what this is telling the database is I want articles that feature both of those terms. So typing and between two terms will actually narrow my results. You see that cuts it down by more than half. I can also make my search broader by typing or between two search terms. So let's say differentiated instruction or college students. What this is telling the database is that I want articles that feature one of those two terms. So that should actually make this 361,000 result much larger. And you see that we get over 16 million results when we do this. We can also type in not. So what not does is it will remove anything that comes after the not. So if we type in differentiated instruction, not college students, what this will do is remove any articles with this phrase college students from my search results. So this should get slightly smaller. See, it cuts out about 160,000 results. These are what are known as Boolean operators. And the easiest way to use them is by going to the advanced search page. So on this page, you'll notice that between the search boxes, there's a drop-down menu, and that has our Boolean operators. I normally just leave the and there and type in my added terms. And let's add in teaching methods. Then what I'll do is look at those terms and say, add in any synonyms that there might be for those terms so that I'm making sure I'm catching those in my net. So college students, we could also type in or university students, or add another term for college, say higher ed. Teaching methods, we could type in or teaching strategies, or instructional methods. We could even add to differentiated instruction or learning styles. If I want to add another box, I just have to click the plus sign here, and that will give me another box. So the way that I like to do this is by taking a term and dedicating a search box to it and any possible synonyms. Then if there are terms I want to remove from my results, I can add them in at the bottom. Select not, and let's say we will remove elementary students. So what this is going to do is tell the database I want some combination of the words in those first three boxes. Then from those results, I'm going to remove any that have elementary students or elementary school students from there. So we're being more specific, but we're also keeping it somewhat broad here. Which actually gives us a larger initial result, but we're pulling in more articles that are hopefully more relevant to our search topic. Then what we can do is use those limiters on the left-hand side to really narrow this down to something more manageable. For help with citation, go to the Research Tools page. Here you'll find different citation guides for different styles, as well as a link to our RefWorks guide. RefWorks is our subscription citation management tool. So I'll go ahead and click that. So on this page, you'll see links to the RefWorks YouTube page, a text-based help page, our quick guide, and to the management tool itself. So if I click on this, it's going to take me to the login page. If you don't already have an account, you want to click on the Create Account button down here, and then use your NEC email to create an account. I'll go ahead and sign in. And this will take me to my homepage within RefWorks. Adding an article citation to RefWorks is pretty easy. In an EBSCOhost database, I want to click on the title of the article I want. Then click Export. This will open up a box, and you'll see one of the options is Direct Export to RefWorks. So I will go ahead and select that, then click Save. This will open up my RefWorks account if I'm already logged in. I'll click Import. And the article data should be imported into my account. In a ProQuest database, I want to also click on the title of the article I want to add to RefWorks. Then from this page, I'll click All Options. Under All Options, we'll see there's a citation export option. So I want to click on RefWorks. Scroll down and click Continue. Continue again. And then that will open up my RefWorks account where I can click Import And the import is complete. To create a works cited page or bibliography, select the citations that you want to use. Then go to Create Bibliography and click Create Bibliography again. This will automatically format a bibliography for you in the last citation style you used. You can then copy it to your clipboard and paste it into a Word doc or Google Doc. If I want to change the citation style, I can do so by clicking here and then searching for other citation styles that I want to use, or recent ones. So we'll go ahead and select recent, and we can change it to MLA if we want to. Thanks for watching this orientation video from NEC Libraries. Check our homepage for updates on when and how we will begin lending out physical materials again.